Hi, welcome to Visibility into QFabric using Junos Space Network Director. As part of this demo, we will follow 4 simple steps. First, we will discover a QFabric. After that, using configuration template, we will go ahead and set up that particular QFabric system, and then we will get into the monitor mode and we'll run a task called Fabric Analyzer to capture all the data from QFabric. And after that, we'll monitor the status of control plane as well as data plane of QFabric system. So with that, let's take a look at quick demo. First step of the demo is to discover a QFabric system. As shown here, I have already went ahead and discovered the control plane switches. So I have EX4200 CPE1 with .36, and then I have another CPE switch called CPE1B with IP address ending with 189.37. So now let's go ahead and discover the QFabric. For that, we will use Discover Devices option. So over here, I would go ahead and use the IP address 189.38. Go ahead, select next. I have already provided the credentials, so I would go ahead, select next, and I will go ahead and finish this discovery job. So as shown here, Network Director has submitted a job and QFabric discovery has been succeeded. So now once the job is 100% done, we will see that under My Network, Network Director will go ahead and add the QFabric system. So as shown here, discovery job is completed, and if you look at the view pane, Network Director has added fabric. It shows the different components of QFabric system, director, interconnect, as well as the different node groups. So far we have discovered a QFabric and also added the control plane switches. Now let's go ahead and perform the second step, that is setting up the QFabric system. For that, we will use the device management option. So select a QFabric and then click the Setup QFabric tab under Device Management. Right now we are into Setup QFabric task. The first option is it allows you to manage the alias. So over here, if I want to change these to something like test or any other user-friendly name, I can just go ahead and do that. So let's say I would change it to test QF-1. So it starts with 1, and as you can see here, now the naming convention has changed from test QF-1 to and so on. After that, we can manage the node groups when I click next. So the next option would be managing the node groups. I can, here are my listed server as well as network node groups, and then from here the next step would be identifying the control plane switches. So when I click next, go ahead and click add, and these are my 2 control plane switches. So I would select those, click OK. It says recommended is 48 port copper. I have power over Ethernet, so that should be fine as well. And then I would say next. So the final step would be reviewing the configuration. So we have a QFabric system. I have added the control plane switches, my interconnects, directors and different node groups. So I would go ahead and say select deploy. It will go ahead and deploy these changes. So as you can see here, now Network Director has updated the QFabric system with addition of control plane switches as well as rest of the components. Now let's go ahead and run the Fabric Analyzer. For that, let's go to the Monitor tab. So in Monitor tab, Fabric Analyzer would pull the data from QFabric and it will display all the different control plane as well as data plane stats. So for that, we'll look at the monitor pane, and over here we'll go ahead and run the Fabric Analyzer task. So as shown here, Network Director has submitted the job to run Fabric Analyzer, and it would probably take a minute or so to pull all the data, and after that we can come back to Fabric Analysis and look at different control as well as data plane numbers. Now let's take a look at the Fabric Analysis, since the Fabric Analyzer job has been completed. So in Fabric Analysis, health check shows different control plane as well as data plane health check. And here we can also look at the connectivity check. We can look at connectivity node, and if there's a problem between the nodes, it will show the problem over here. We can also look at in a table format, and then we can also look at the overall control plane topology. So as shown here, this is my one of the EX4200 switch, and then bottom I have another 4200, that is these are my two CPE switches, and then here these are my different top of rack switches, as well as these are the interconnects, interconnect 0 and interconnect 1, and then this is my QFabric directors. We can also look at the data plane topology, and before that, these are the different color codings for what the link is all about, and any change happening on the topology, once we run the Fabric Analyzer job, it will reflect that topology change automatically. This is the connectivity diagram for my data plane topology, and using the equipment option, I can look at the CPU as well as memory utilization, as well as traffic tab would tell me the traffic distribution or traffic train over a certain amount of time. So this is the traffic tab showing the train over a 1 month, and we can go history up to 1 year, and then we can also look at the overall port utilization train, so from an hour up to a month to a 3 months or up to a year and so on. So with that, it shows that Junos Space Network Director provides complete visibility into the QFabric system. Thank you so much.